Good afternoon, everybody. This is Paul Masters, Republican candidate for Congress in Pennsylvania's 6th District, and today I'd like to talk to you about healthcare, where I think we need to go as a country and what my views are, and what I'm going to propose or support if I'm so lucky to be your next elected representative, and how I think what we're doing right now, both Republican and Democrat with regards to healthcare, makes no sense and is getting us nowhere. So first of all, I think we need to ask ourselves as a country and a society a broad philosophical question before we can even get into what exactly we want to do about healthcare and how exactly we want to tackle it, i.e. what the tactics are behind that. And that is whether or not we want universal healthcare, i.e. do we want somehow the government to ensure that everybody who wants health insurance can go get it, or actually make sure that they all have it? Or are we okay with a certain subset of people not being able to get health insurance and going uninsured as a consequence of the setup of the system? I'm not okay with that. I think that it's a legitimate government purpose to ensure that everybody has health care and can get health care if they want it to. Now, there's good and bad ways we can go about achieving universal health care, and we can take a look to the rest of the industrialized world for the menu of options we have to achieve universal health care. On one extreme, you've got totally government-run systems like the national healthcare system in Britain, for example, whereby the government physically owns hospitals and employs almost everybody in the healthcare business. And on the other end, you've got the Swiss model, which, in my opinion, makes the absolute most of free market principles to achieve the most efficient and cheapest and best health insurance while still managing to insure everybody. Now, if we take a look at the comparative healthcare results, and almost every measurable result where the United States does well, which is things like technology penetration per capita and the amount of MRI machines and things of that sort that we have available to people, the Swiss are at exactly our level or in a very, very close second. And to achieve this, they spend a little bit less per capita from a government perspective. Now, keep in mind, we are the world's top from a government perspective, we are the world's top per capita spender in healthcare. Now, the Swiss spend a little bit less than we do per capita to achieve about the same results and insure everybody. Now, the way they do this is by having no public options and a subsidization system in place. So what that means is the Swiss have an individual mandate, a strongly enforced individual mandate, whereas every Swiss individual is mandated to go out and purchase private healthcare insurance for themselves. There's no employer-based healthcare or anything like that. Now, what the government does to ensure that everybody has healthcare is that they ensure that the minimum healthcare plan never costs more than 10% of any individual's income. If the minimum healthcare plan costs more than 10%, the Swiss government subsidizes that person up until that point. So if you make no income, they subsidize the whole thing. If it's close, they'll cover the balance. And this allows them to achieve free market results. Now let's take a look at what we've got right now in this country. There's virtually no free market in healthcare whatsoever. Between Medicare and Medicaid and a couple other smaller public options, the United States government right now is directly providing healthcare insurance to about 35% of Americans. 50% of Americans are covered under employer-based healthcare, which there's also very little choice in. So if you've got Medicare or Medicaid, there's no choice. You take it or leave it. Now, if you've got employer-based healthcare, you usually it means you have a job, your employer provides health care, and generally you're given one of three options that your employer has previously negotiated, and you get to pick one of those. That's not consumer choice either. And even for most people in the individual market through the Obamacare exchanges, there's hardly any choice for them. If most people, if they're lucky, have two or three choices in their county, and some don't even have a choice at all. I mean, it's about a third of counties right now only have one insurer providing health insurance under the Obamacare exchanges. The only people who have any sort of choice in the market right now is if you're making a ton of money and you can go afford to buy whatever nice healthcare plan you want at the upper income brackets. That's an unacceptable state of affairs. So we've got the worst of both worlds either way. So I think the way forward is to make the most of free market principles by adopting something quite similar to what's being used in the Swiss healthcare system. And that is a real proposal on how we can actually get everybody healthcare without sacrificing quality. Thank you very much.